What is up, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you for joining. Let's get started with tonight's review of Friday Night Smackdown from the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, I'm not going to give a quick, I usually give stuff from play by play, but I'm just going to give a quick scan like review on my thoughts of tonight. First off, let me just say my sincere thoughts and prayers are for Rey Mysterio during his match with fellow LWO member Santos Escobar. Santos went for a running dive on the outside, in which Rey Mysterio had a rough falling and bumped his head pretty bad on the landing. So, due to that, Rey Mysterio was forced to forfeit the match. Both men showed sportsmanship, but due to Rey Mysterio's incapability of continuing, the match was awarded to Santos Escobar. Santos didn't want it that way, but nonetheless, he is the number one contender for Austin Theory's United States Championship. Speaking of Austin Theory, I will say this. I hope that one day we can get LA Knight versus Austin Theory. And I really, really hope that by WrestleMania of next year, LA Knight is on the card, whether it's for a championship or for an interesting grudge match or a competition like who's the better person match. I really hope, and I know a lot of you will agree with this, that LA Knight is on the card for next year's WrestleMania, or hopefully he's champion in some way by then because he is so popular and he is really growing. And tonight, I have to say, what he said was the most hilarious thing. Now, he came out and made fun of Hit Row, which consists of Flop Dollar, as Michael Cole calls him, because he is not gifted with flying, and he made that botch, as we call it, and no one has gotten over that because it was one of the funniest things we've ever seen. But tonight, LA Knight completely made fun of him, saying, "When did Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince of Bel Air become a rapper?" That was hilarious. But tonight, LA Knight made short work of Ashante in the ring, and Top Dollar, or should I say, Flop Dollar, got dropped as well. But being alluded to as Uncle Phil was hilarious. By the way, God rest his soul, Uncle Phil, one of the coolest TV dads in entertainment history. Also, we saw in a women's segment, we saw Bailey with Io Sky of Damage Control because Dakota is getting well. We saw her along with Asuka, and we also saw that Bailey is continued to be the victim of mind games with a sign that came by Shotzi Blackheart. Last time we saw her, she was shaving her hair. Now, many of us know that the reason for her shaving her hair was in support of her sister who is battling cancer. So, my thoughts and prayers are for her sister, and I hope she beats it. Speaking of which, last time we heard a wrestler beat an unhealthy disease was the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And hopefully, Shotzi's sister can defeat cancer as well. Moving forward, another backstage segment that was kind of funny was when the Street Profits sat down with Bobby Lashley. And they are about to start their own little trio, which I think is going to be very exciting and very interesting to see. But what was funny was how Bobby said, "Around here, we also like to dress the part." And the camera just zoomed in on Angelo Dawkins, and he was like, "Wait a minute, y'all talking about me? You're not feeling the sweats?" And Montez Ford is looking like, "Of course he told. I told you to wear something nice." It's always funny when those segments happen. It's like that TV show, The Big Comfy Couch, where the girl makes the mess and the camera zooms in on her after saying, "Who made this mess?" "Woman, it was you." Or as Shawn Michaels said to Triple H, "It was you, Hunter." But in any event, moving forward, I thought that was funny, and I'm really interested to see what the Street Profits and Lashley do next. Also, we heard Lashley allude to Trick and Carmelo Hayes. That having all of those five together with MVP, among others, that would be a dream team. But moving forward, also, tonight we saw the women's tag team match. We saw Charlotte and Bianca try to outdo each other while facing the Bumblebee Queens, being the women's tag team champions Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. And the reason why I make that humor is because they were dressed up in black and yellow with yellow lines in their attire, which made me call them the Bumblebee Queens just for humor. But tonight we saw Bianca and Charlotte try to outdo each other, and right as Bianca was about to go for the win, Charlotte takes the glory. And it's almost symbolic. A lot of people will say it's symbolic because people believe that Charlotte, in some way, has been taking the spotlight way too many times. I don't know. I almost agree, but then again, we all want to be champions, and Stone Cold said it best. If you're not here to be champion, you shouldn't be here. So you be the judge of that. But in any event, Charlotte takes the glory as Bianca was about to go for the pin. And then one of those ego tag team segments that I've seen many times because I've been a fan of this since elementary school years. Moving forward from that, I will say this. I don't think Charlotte is going to win the triple threat match. I'm between Asuka and Bianca at SummerSlam, but I don't think Charlotte is going to win this one. Even though she does have a good history with. Wait, she has one good. Yeah, she has a good history with triple threat matches. More of a 50-50 like, but she's got a good history with triple threats. But I don't think this is it. Speaking of what I think for SummerSlam, that brings me to the last part. We have. Oh, one more thing. Cross versus Carl Anderson was another match that happened tonight where Cross beat up Carl and spoke AJ's name as a message. And after winning the match and continuing the assault, AJ Styles came in. Now, hopefully, they'll have a good match soon because I don't think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. But hopefully, they have a good match soon because the last time they met, it was a SmackDown short, as I like to call it, because AJ Styles, no, Cross was injured in his left leg, I believe. So the match couldn't go on that long. But hopefully, we'll see them have a better match in the future. Now, let's get down to Roman Reigns and the Jey Uso segment. Earlier tonight, Jey Uso opened up the show saying the blood Jay is in your city, and then Roman Reigns comes out and demands acknowledgement. Now, let's see if you guys can remember this. I'm about to impersonate something. Now, The Rock says, we seem to have developed a pattern, and that pattern is that week after week, you come out here and you run your mouth. Now, for those of you who don't get the illusion, The Rock came to Atlanta in February of 2000 and cut Triple H off after Triple H opened the show on Monday Night Raw, and The Rock came and called him out saying, you do this week after week. You come out here and you do the same thing week after week. And this is like that with Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns had the nerve to say John Cena is a missionary Baptist man every single time. But in any event, they come out and they fight. Roman argue. Roman's like, what makes you think you can beat me? Jay's like, I already beat you. But I will say this. I don't think Jay is going to win at SummerSlam. I think the match is going to be great, but I don't think Jay is going to be the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. But I would love to see Roman Reigns win a match on his own. For goodness sake, leave your new right-hand man Solo backstage and fight on your own. Jeez. But nonetheless, tonight they talked And then later on in the main event, Jay faced off against Grayson Waller, and Jace used Roman's spear right in front of Roman as he watched ringside, then went for the Uso splash for the 1, 2, 3, and 1, right in front of Roman watching, with Solo and Paul Heyman. The thing that surprised me was that Paul Heyman didn't stare at Roman the entire way, because I was really expecting Paul to stare at Roman throughout the entire match while visualizing Caleb Braxton. I hope that is not, I think I can say that. I don't think that would be offensive. But in any event, when Roman stares, I've said it before in humor, when Roman stares, or should I say, when Paul stares at Roman, Paul sees Kayla. That's why he can stare at Roman all night long, because he's thinking about his crush, Kayla. But moving forward, after Jay had won the match, Solo and Roman came in and did their regular attack people, lay people out in the show. Again, according to the Rock used to say, we seem to have developed a pattern. But we don't see it every single week, but we see it a lot. And this was one of those nights where we saw Samoan Spike and the Spear at the same time twice. We saw it for the first time at Money in the Bank, and the Usos kicked out of it, which was a surprise. But in any event, I still think they're going to book Roman Reigns to win this. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this review and tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown? I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and I will see you next time with another review on all things wrestling. Have a great weekend. Oh, and if you haven't already, be sure to check out my video on my top 10 favorite Triple H matches, part 2, as it was released on his birthday yesterday. See you next time, folks.